God is not ignoring you. He is not responding to you. And those are not the same thing. Sit with that for a moment, because most people collapse those two realities into one. They feel the silence, they feel the stillness, and they conclude that heaven has turned away. But that is not what is happening. What is happening is far more precise than rejection, far more instructive than abandonment. You are praying, you are asking, you are working, you are trying, and from the outside, it looks like dedication. It looks like faith in motion, but nothing is moving. Not your finances, not your relationships, not your health, not your opportunities. The ceiling stays where it is. The walls stay where they are. And you are standing in the middle of it all, exhausted, confused, and wondering what you are doing wrong. Here is what Torah teaches that most modern teaching has forgotten. Effort does not create movement. Authority creates movement. And until you understand that distinction, you will keep grinding against a system that was never designed to respond to pressure. It was designed to respond to structure. Let me show you exactly what I mean. You were raised with a formula. Most of us were. The formula goes like this: work harder, life changes. Apply more effort, get more results. Push further, breakthrough happens. And on the surface, that sounds reasonable. That sounds like wisdom. That sounds like the kind of thing you put on a motivational poster and hang above your desk. But look at your reality right now. Not the reality you want, the one you actually have. Are you working more? Yes. Are you thinking more? Yes. Are you strategizing more? Sacrificing more? Staying up later? Waking up earlier? Yes. And is life responding? No. Or at least not the way it should, not proportionate to the effort you are investing. That is not a coincidence. That is a pattern, and that pattern has a name. It is the absence of authority. Here is the law that governs how systems respond. Provision follows authority. Response follows authority. Movement follows authority. Not desire, not desperation, not even prayer disconnected from structure. Authority. When authority is present, things align. When authority is absent, things stay exactly where they are. No matter how loud you get, no matter how hard you push, no matter how sincere your intentions are. You are not blocked because you are weak. You are blocked because you are operating without authority. And those are completely different problems, requiring completely different solutions. Now here is where the misunderstanding lives. Most people who lack results are trying to produce outcomes in spaces where they have no authority. They want financial increase, but they have no governance over their current money. They want peace in their environment, but they have no peace within themselves. They want expansion in their business, their calling, their relationships, but they have built no internal structure capable of holding expansion. So what do? They push harder, they try more, they apply more pressure to a door that does not open with pressure, it opens with the right key. And the right key is always authority. Think about what this looks like in real life. You have seen people who seem to do less and receive more. You have seen people who appear to move with ease while you are grinding without traction. And maybe you told yourself they were lucky. Maybe you told yourself they had advantages you did not have. Maybe you even told yourself the system was unfair. And while systems can certainly be unjust, what you were actually witnessing in those moments was something else entirely. You were watching authority at work. The person with authority speaks once and things align. The person without authority repeats themselves and nothing shifts. The person with authority makes a decision and resources begin to gather around that decision. The person without authority makes the same decision and nothing follows. This is not mystical. This is structural. Authority creates a gravitational field around your life, and things respond to that field. The Hebrew scriptures are filled with this pattern, and it is not subtle once you know what you're looking for. Moses did not stand at the edge of the Red Sea and push the water. He did not dive in and try to swim through. He did not organize a committee to evaluate options. He carried authority that had been given to him through covenant, through assignment, through the governance he operated under, and the sea moved, not because Moses was physically powerful, because Moses was spiritually authorized. Joseph did not force his way into prominence in Egypt. He was a prisoner, a slave, a man who by every visible measurement had no leverage, no status, no reason for anyone to listen to him. But authority does not require visible status. It requires alignment. Joseph was aligned with his assignment. He governed himself in the pit. He governed himself in Potiphar's house. He governed himself in the prison. And eventually Egypt opened to him, not because he pushed Egypt, but because authority does not stay hidden forever. It rises, because it is designed to. David did not stabilize a kingdom through sheer aggression. David understood structure. He understood order. He understood that a kingdom, like a life, responds to the kind of internal governance that radiates outward into every system it touches. He was not perfect, but he was anchored to something real, and real authority, even imperfect authority, creates stability that raw effort never can. None of these men tried harder. They operated where they had authority, and that is the entire lesson. Now let me give you the diagnosis, because this is where this becomes personal and practical for your actual life. There are three primary authority leaks. Three places where authority drains out of a person's life before it can ever produce results. And if even one of these is broken, nothing moves. All three broken, you will be exhausted and invisible for years. The first leak is the absence of self-governance. You want authority over your life. But do you have authority over yourself? Your time, your money, your behavior, or are you reacting, drifting, negotiating with your own discipline every day? Authority begins with self-governance. If you cannot command yourself, nothing else will respond to you. Because here is the truth that is not comfortable, but is absolutely necessary. Authority always begins with self-governance. Before anything in the external world responds to you, you must be someone who has proven you can govern what you have already been given. Your time, your attention, your responses, your habits. If you cannot command yourself, nothing else will receive your command. Not because the universe is punishing you, because authority is a weight, and it can only rest on a structure that is built to hold it. If you are reactive, if you are inconsistent, if your mood determines your discipline rather than your discipline determining your mood, then you are not yet carrying the authority you are trying to use. And life, with stunning precision, reflects that back to you every single day. The second leak is operating outside your assignment. Authority does not exist in every direction. It exists in specific directions. It exists where you are sent. It exists where you are called. It exists where your gifts meet genuine responsibility and genuine need. When you chase things that are not yours, when you force directions that do not fit, when you build structures around someone else's assignment because it looks successful or impressive, you are spending energy in a zone where you have no backing. Think about that word, backing. When you are in your assignment, heaven backs your movement. Resources move toward you. Doors open with what feels like unusual ease. Connections arrive that you did not engineer. Timing becomes favorable in ways you cannot fully explain. But when you are outside your assignment, you are alone, not abandoned, just undeployed. Like a soldier who has wandered off mission, you still have the training. But without the mission, there is no command structure supporting your movement. And command structure is everything. Stop building what is not yours. Stop chasing signals that were meant for someone else. Find where things fit. Find where responsibility feels natural rather than forced. Find where your particular design, your particular wiring, your particular capacity meets something real and necessary. That is where your authority lives. That is where life will respond. The third leak is internal instability. You want expansion, but expansion requires weight, and weight requires stability. And right now, if you are honest, there is chaos inside you. There is stress that has no resolution. There is pressure that has become your permanent operating environment. There is reactivity that hijacks your thinking at the worst possible moments. There is urgency that drives decisions that undermine your own structure week after week. Authority requires a kind of weight that chaos simply cannot carry. Life, in its precision, does not trust unstable systems with more. Not because God is withholding blessing as punishment, because loading an unstable structure with more weight does not bless it. It destroys it. So the system waits. Not for your effort to increase, for your stability to establish. This is what Torah is teaching when it describes the preparation periods of every significant figure. The desert before the ministry, the pit before the palace, the years of obscurity before the years of impact. These were not punishments. These were stabilization periods. These were the seasons where internal structure was being built so that when authority arrived, it would land on something capable of holding it without collapsing. Here is the warning I need to give you plainly. God will not respond to a man who cannot govern himself. Not because he is cruel, not because he is indifferent, because he is precise, because response without authority becomes destruction. If life obeyed every command you gave right now, with the internal structure you currently carry, it would not bless you, it would break you. The weight of real provision, real influence, real expansion given to an unstable and ungoverned person does not produce flourishing. It produces collapse. So heaven waits. With patience that looks like silence, with precision that looks like indifference, not for more effort from you, for more structure. And structure is something you can actually build right now, starting today. Let me show you how. The first step is to govern yourself, not perfectly, consistently. Control your time. Start with how you spend the first hour of your day. Is it reactive or intentional? Control your money. Know where it goes. Give it direction before it disappears. Control your actions. Let your commitments determine your behavior, not your emotions. Structure replaces mood. Order replaces reaction. You do not have to be extraordinary. You have to be consistent. Consistency is the language authority speaks every single day. The second step is to return to what is yours. This requires honesty. It requires you to look at what you are chasing and ask whether it actually fits you or whether you are pursuing it because someone else made it look possible or attractive. Stop forcing direction. Stop trying to manufacture alignment through sheer willpower. Ask yourself where things have always moved naturally for you. Ask where responsibility has felt like identity rather than obligation. Ask where your design matches a real need in the world. That intersection is your assignment. Return to it. Authority is waiting for you there and only there. The third step is to stabilize. This is not about becoming emotionless. It is about removing chaos as your default operating state. No more urgency-driven decisions. No more emotional spikes that reroute your entire week. No more living in reaction mode while calling it productivity. Calm structure. consistent action, clear thinking. These are not soft virtues, they are authority prerequisites. The person who can remain stable under pressure is the person life begins to trust with more. And that trust expresses itself as response, as open doors, as provision that arrives without you chasing it. Now here is something important I need you to hear. If you do not know where your structure is broken, you cannot fix what you cannot see. The vessel inspection protocol is a tool I have built specifically for this. It shows you exactly where your authority is leaking, not in theory, not in vague spiritual language. Structurally, specifically, it identifies the cracks in your foundation before you keep building on top of them. Download it now. Do not continue building without first inspecting what you are building on. The link is below. Use it because here is what changes when authority is actually built. Everything changes. You stop forcing. Things begin moving. Not because you pushed harder, but because you are now someone that the system around you can respond to. You stop chasing. Things begin aligning. Not because you got lucky, but because you are operating from your actual assignment and backing has arrived. You stop asking and wondering and growing frustrated by silence. Things begin responding because you are no longer trying in the way of the desperate and the unauthorized. You are operating in the way of the anchored and the assigned. The gap between those two experiences, trying and operating, is authority. And authority is built. It is not inherited accidentally. It is not downloaded through prayer alone. It is constructed through self-governance, through alignment with assignment, through the kind of internal